Hi, fifth graders, other side. It's Miss Rayborn again, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your Who We Are unit. So, we're starting our connection to your Who We Are unit this week, and your central idea is beliefs and values influence human actions. So, in your classroom, you've probably been talking quite a bit about what your beliefs and values might be and how that inspires you to do things in your community, amongst your school, with your peers, not only the actions you take, but the words that you speak, the things that you read, all kinds of things like that. So, we're going to talk in art specifically about what the word value, the element of art value, means. When we're talking about value, I'm looking at the value scale that's right up here. We're talking about the lightness or darkness of a color. So the higher a value is, the darker the color will get. Now, as you can see in these pictures down below, you can also talk about value in color. This week specifically, we're going to focus on grayscale and white and gray and black values, but we'll learn more about color as we go along. Now, as you're shading, there are some pencils you can use. And you might remember that I told you in your letter with your art supplies that I had ordered us some special pencils and they hadn't come yet. And unfortunately, they still have not come, which is disappointing, but it's just kind of where we are. So let's talk about pencils just a little bit so that you can understand how they work. So right in the almost center, here is HB, and you'll notice above it, it says number 2. So I also have an HB number 2 pencil here with me. That's just a plain old yellow pencil. Okay. B stands for black. And as you can see, as you move farther up, it's going to get darker and darker and darker. So a 2B pencil will be lighter than a 6B pencil. The lead is getting softer and softer, which allows, when you put pressure, for more and more graphite to come off, and it makes your shading darker. So B is for black. The higher the number, the darker it is. F right over here is for fine, as in fine point for detail. H stands for hard. These pencils have a very hard lead, which means when you push on them, less graphite comes off. This means that when you shade with them, they are lighter. The higher the number of the number as you go in H, the lighter the color will get. When we look at the broad spectrum of these pencils, they are available in 9H through 9B. Miss Rayborn doesn't even have them that far. I have them to about the 6s and then an ebony pencil. But I wanted you to be able to see what is possible with this. Today, we're going to focus on what we can do with a plain old 2B pencil, so don't worry about that. Here's why this can be helpful in art. When we use value, we can show three-dimensional objects in a two-dimensional way. Or pardon me, the other way around. We can show two-dimensional objects in a three-dimensional way. So the artist here has looked at highlights, shadows, transitional values, and things like that, which has created the illusion of a three-dimensional sphere on a two-dimensional space. We're going to talk a little bit about this as we go along. Today is just sort of our intro to this. Okay. As you can see here, when you master how to do this, you can make things look quite realistic. And again, we're just sort of starting with this idea today. In the next video, you are going to learn with Ms. Deb how to make yourself a value scale. And you can make a value scale with smooth shading. You can also do it with value lines. For example, like hatching or cross hatching, or even this one is my favorite. They call it squiggles and scribbles. I call it scumbling is what I was learned in college. So the next video over is where you're going to learn a little bit more about creating a value scale. You'll also see that you're in your optional enrichment for this week. There is a video about shading, drawing and shading an apple. Please remember, this is always optional. It's completely up to you whether you would like to do it or not. Okay. If you have not already filled out the very first question that was right under the welcome video, please take care of that now. You are getting a participation grade, and I will see you soon.